So today we've got Alan Connect with us. What's the name of your company?
Digital Always Media.
Digital Always Media. Where are you guys located out of?
We're based out of Toronto, Canada.
All right. So what sessions are you speaking on while you're here?
I'm giving a talk on social media analytics and building an social media analytics model.
Okay. What kind of tools are you talking about?
I'm not actually going to talk about specific tools because there's a plethora of tools that people have various budgets. I'm going to be laying out the concept and a methodology that I've developed that's easily applicable to any size business to understand the key measurement points along the social conversion path.
Cool. So more about the workflow and the actual how do you dissect the data, right?
Right.
And that's where most people fall off, right? It's they get so stuck on, oh, I use XYZ, and say, all right, well, what do you do with XYZ? You know what I mean? It's cool if you have an Aston Martin, but if you're just driving back and forth from the 7-Eleven, what does it matter?
Right, and I equate it quite often. It's just also I might have a hammer, doesn't mean I know how to build a house.
Right.
And some of the people now will go buy the gold encrusted hammer.
Yeah.
It's still designed to drive nails.
Yeah.
And the key is understanding where you need to be measuring and what you need to measure based on what your activities and your involvement in the world of social marketing.
What are some key KPIs in your mind from a social media standpoint?
From a social media, my strategy is there's essentially 4 key points. So I look at I don't look at followers. Anybody who's just counting followers and fans and likes is missing the boat. This is taking the web back to the days when we used to count how many website visitors we had, how many hits we had a website, which was a meaningless. We had we had measured hits, which was a programmer terminology, which had nothing to do with website interaction. But I look at growth rate based on activity, and it's based on what your goals are. You may want to grow for every 100 tweets, 10 followers. Maybe your growth rate is for every 100 tweets you want to grow 200 followers. That's what you start measuring, and then you have to come into quality factors. Then you want to take that and how can I convert them and get them further into engage with me beyond just following me.
Right.
And that's what it becomes. But I look at the ratio, so something like 10 followers for every 100 tweets, maybe a realistic one for most people. And then you want to start talking, okay, now when I share a link on a tweet, I put out a link to the infographic that we developed, or I put a link out to download a white paper. It doesn't matter how much I grew those followers, will they take the next step? That's the lowest level of commitment, and that's part of where we now set, that's another measurement point. Now they came, they got my white paper, and they actually gave me an email address to get my white paper. Now I can put them in my CRM, and now I can keep measuring them along the path.
Right, and so with that, do you think CPA is something like a cost per acquisition or an acquisition value is important to put into the social metrics as well? So that way you can kind of back it out into the same construct as,
The answer is depends.
Depends on what you,
It depends on your conversion cycle. I've worked with clients where a conversion cycle from where they first acquired that follower, that fan, may be a 12, 13 month period.
Similar for us in our business, right?
Right, and then, so how can you equate that, and really is a cost per acquisition, unless you throw we got this many customers, this was our spend this year, but are you ignoring that? So it's part of but there are other clients you can work with that from point of acquisition of a follower or a fan to conversion on a low cost commodity or whatever your conversion point, it may be a very valid measurement tool.
Right. And so how important is content in this mix for social?
Content always has been important.
Yeah.
If you don't have the message that resonates with your audience, they are not going to, first of all, become your fan or your follower, give you a like. You then have to keep them engaged. And you engage by giving them content that they can relate to and want to respond to. And by then responding back to them is how you build the audience with the social world.
Yeah, because that's why, for me, I see the future of advertising really in native advertising. And I look at what Facebook's doing even with home, right?
Yes.
I go, home isn't a place where you're going to want to put a Facebook ad. It's where you're going to want to do a sponsored story. Now all of a sudden you have a sponsored story right on somebody's mobile device. That's an amazing way to engage with somebody through content.
Exactly, and if you can afford to be putting that sponsored story in, but the message has always been there, and I've alluded to this when I had my book was out a couple of years ago. We talk of we're all treating social media or social marketing as something brand new. It's been around forever in advertising. We call it word of mouth, and Jesus and his apostles were nothing more than word of mouth marketers, and they had a message that they were able to sell and get people to buy in on, and then further spread, and that's what the whole purpose of social is. We may start engaging with each other, and you go, oh, I really like what Alan said. You'll go tell somebody. How do I equate that to my cost per acquisition? I can't. And that's part of the soft conversion factors that when you do social really well, you don't even know where your conversions are coming from. But if you wouldn't have done your social component, you wouldn't get them.
Right. Yeah, I think it's also, I mean, it's like I've always said too, we've almost become spoiled in this day and age where data's at our fingertips. And it used to be when you did marketing, you didn't have this granular aspect of data, right? And you had to collect data to make sure that you were doing a proper job from an advertising standpoint, but how many exact eyeballs hit that billboard on a daily basis isn't something you knew. You had to put metrics farther down the funnel.
Right. Very few people started, TV, radio ads. Ooh, what was my audience? Nielsen had little meters and radios to know what their estimate audience size, and then you hope sales went up. I always like the Burma Shave analogy from the 1930s. Before radio, they did a series of billboards in succession with a message. They measured success by the store at the end of those billboards, how the sales were, or in that general area. And then based on that, they found out what messaging worked better, what color signs worked better, the height of the signs worked better, and that became the foundation for billboard advertising.
Right.
And that's it. You'll do a big TV commercial on the Super Bowl, spend a fortune. What is its impact on sales? In some companies, if you're not there, it could hurt your sales. Uh-oh, they're in trouble. They didn't do it this year. But others, it's a huge waste of money. They'd be better off doing some local radio ads. And then look at how much the phone rings after the radio ads. And that's part that you can do with an attribution model for traditional advertising.
I think the other thing that I see too is people are so afraid to put a secondary conversion in place. We talk to people about it all the time is, don't just go for the throat. Like, social traffic may not convert into a sale immediately because your conversion cycle might be longer. But you know what you need to do is maybe build up an email list, you know what I mean? And go back to these models that have been proven, to work.
Exactly, and that's part of it. We got spoiled with SEO, with pay-per-click, where we were catching people generally at one of two stages. Either they were interested in a product and were looking for more information, or they were ready to buy. With social, we're catching people when they may not even know about your product or services.
Right.
They may just say, oh, that looks interesting. Now you have, I also equate it sometimes to, you're in a mall and you have a display window. Nobody knows the name of your store. And that's social, it's a display window. You have to be attractive, engaging, and encourage someone to come on in. But they didn't go to the mall to buy your product.
Right.
But you now have that. Now they come in. Now the social kicks in. It's that sales rep. Can I help you? What interested you? And if it's just like, oh yeah, leave me alone, or that you're too aggressive, and it's the same model with social.
Right.
You're telling people, we have something you may not even know you want. Come and check us out.
Right.
And then you have to engage and convert.
I mean, do you feel like, especially with people in the online space, it's almost like they lack the marketing, like true marketing skills right now? Because that's how I feel sometimes. It's like they've been so spoiled with SEO and pay-per-click that going back to the days of, I'm just a marketer. I need to get a message out, and I need to emotionally bond with my,
I would agree with that
target.
Completely. We're bringing people out now. They're going to university and college courses. They're learning PPC. They're learning SEO. They're even learning social marketing. But the lessons they're being taught are not the lessons that marketers were taught in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, even into the 80s, it's about building a relationship, about building a trust. Yes, back then it was hard to do a one-to-one relationship, and it was more of a broadcast.
But we should be able to merge those and be better.
And those who are most successful are the ones who have the experience and can merge it. They may not have the skill set to take advantage of the latest technology, but that's why you hire the person who graduates and knows the latest technology, but the manager who can blend those two together are the ones who are being successful. Otherwise, everyone comes out saying, ooh, new, shiny, we got to go do this. This is all brand new, and they're going to make the same mistakes that were made way back when.
Right. So if you had to give one tip, and it can either be on this topic or another, my biggest thing when I speak is like, hey, here's one nut to take home with you. You can use it now to do something. I mean, what would yours be? And it can be as simple as, like the big thing I've been pushing lately is email marketing, for example. You know what I mean? Like people just aren't email marketing properly anymore.
Well, I would first examine your audience and locate what online properties your target audience is at and join that community. Don't start as a marketer. Start as a community member, make friends, learn what's working and not working.
Yep.
Then you can build that into your marketing plan. And that may take anywhere from a week to 6 months. But until you're part of the community, you can't market to it through any online properties.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming and
Thank you very
spending
much.
some time with us.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.